What's up, hooligans? Jay Hooligan here.
Hooligan V.
And welcome to another edition of our live lunch. And today's Thursday. What do we call it? Friday Eve?
Pre-Friday?
Pre-Friday, Friday Eve.
You say Friday Eve.
I say
pre-Friday.
Eve, you say pre-Friday.
It's like pre-gaming, but...
Dang,
so
you're starting on that. Okay. Alright.
Somebody had to say it.
Did they? Did they really have to say it?
For those of us who do like that.
Yes, so... Man, we're coming up on the end of April already. What's...
Right? That's what I was saying the other day. I was like, April's almost
We have
over.
another week.
One more week.
Yeah, we have another week.
But there's just so much stuff going on in May that I'm just like, okay, what's going on? And I was like, we still have a time, like, a while before May. And I was like, no, we don't have a while before May.
No, we do not. We have like 1 week until May. Because, yeah. Alright. Anyway, so... Craziness going on in the film industry and the rest of the world, or the United States. At least the United States. So many things going on. However, before we get into all that, you can support us by subscribing to this channel. Going to become a hooligan on our Patreon, patreon.com/HighHooliganFilms, or buying one of our RPG IRL shirts at thewanderingkiltsman.com/shop. That also supports, just so you know, that also supports the Wandering Kiltsman, who is our flagship for the Wandering Kiltsman. He is actually taken off for the third leg of the Triple Crown of hikes. He's going to be finishing, like I said, the third leg. There's 3 different hikes, all of them over 2,000 miles each, and he's going to finish on only, was it less than 600 people? Less than 600 people in history have officially completed the Triple Crown, and he will be one of those people by the end of this year. And he's actually stepping off
Before the end of this year.
Before the end of this year,
to the end of the year, I get it.
Close to the end of the year. Because they have to do it within a certain time frame. And he's stepping off next week.
Yep.
Next week he's stepping off for that. So again, if you do go to if you do get one of the RPG IRL shirts or any of the other Wandering Kiltsman merch, that does help him
also,
as well.
You can follow the YouTube page for videos, or the Instagram. It's very lively, so you guys can see all the videos and the photos that he takes that I'll usually post up. You know.
Yeah.
You okay?
Yes. Okay. So allergies are terrible. They've been terrible this week. It's been killing me.
No, I get that. So the Instagram page is the Wandering Kiltsman. You guys can go look at that as well. It's usually the most lively one. We post on Facebook, and what else? Twitter? Do we have Twitter?
I think we do, but I don't know. We actually kind of like it. Oh no, not that active on Twitter. Well, I've been more active.
Well, if you think about it, the Wandering Kiltsman's more of a photography guy, so
yeah,
Instagram's a good one for you guys if you want to check out his stuff.
Absolutely. We don't really use Twitter that much. I used it to kind of troll and keep things interesting for myself. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, so like I said, the topic for today is the Big Six, or which I like to call the Big Five, because at least in my eyes, the ones that are out there. I mean, there's a couple different variations of who the Big Six are. If you don't know who they are, back in the 1900s, when the film industry was first forming, the Big Six were studios, Hollywood studios, that pretty much controlled everything. Right? They vertically integrated, which means to monopolize an industry, where they own the actors, the directors, the content, like all the stories, all the way from development through distribution. So they used to own their own theaters. And in 1920, it was indie film companies and movie theaters that got together and put out a lawsuit against the Big Six to say that they were violating the Sherman antitrust laws. And if you don't know what antitrust laws, that prevents any company or corporation to monopolize any industry. So that's what vertical integration is. It's protected, or we are protected as even small business owners, and even consumers from something like vertical integration by the Sherman antitrust laws. All right. That whole thing went down. It started with indie companies and movie theaters, and then it moved on into I forget what year it actually started. U.S. versus Paramount, where it went to the Supreme Court. And in 1948, the Supreme Court ruling was that they were violating the Sherman antitrust laws, and they had to disperse their theaters, right? So their distribution platform, because they were vertically integrating. Now, that's all concerning old media, so when they'd say feature films are included in that, that meant like the reels that they used to make and send out to theaters, because there was a practice called block booking, and block booking was studios would send out whatever films they chose to theaters, right? So it wasn't, and they keep what would happen was indies would get the short end of the stick. They wouldn't get distributed at the big studios, the Big Six studios. Movie theaters would get shorthanded with that or not shorthanded. They would get the short end of the stick of that as well, because they wouldn't get tentpole movies, and so all the good stuff would literally just go to the Big Six studios.
I mean,
theaters.
If you think about that, like in today's terms, right? It's like it's the same thing. Indie filmmakers, the theaters, and now like thinking about it, just the distributors. You know, because you have aggregators, people in the middle who help distribute films to theaters, and they're kind of missing out on that. Absolutely.
So they're screwing with the whole distribution process, and this is why it's important for us to know as indie filmmakers, because, we will continue to get that. And the topic of here, and it's funny because I was just thinking about that. The topic is the Big Six have returned. Technically, they never left. They had never left. And they have been shifted and moved, and we'll show you guys today. There's a couple different graphics and articles that we have that kind of show you a couple different versions of it, and some of them that I do.
I think they were more mitigated than anything.
Yeah, before.
But now they're starting to let me come back out again and try to monopolize.
So that's why I say they've returned, because there are blatant moves that they are making. They are no longer hiding it. They're no longer trying to, just to say like, oh yeah, well, hey guys, we're not violating the law. Like, no, they are literally doing all this out in the open. They are proud about it. They want everybody to know about it, and not in a way where it's like, ha ha ha, we got you. We are monopolizing the industry. We are vertically integrating. They are doing it in a way where they're what?
You ever see those serial killers that leave what do they call it? Those they're not notes, but they leave those things for their person
For the detective?
For the detective to find. What are they called?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Those little gifts. Not gifts, but you know what I'm talking about? It's kind of like that.
It's our signature.
Signature.
That was like in Home Alone. What do you? He's like, I gotta turn it on the water because we're the wet bandits. That way they know it's us. It's like, okay.
So I mean, thinking about it, like how you were just saying that, that's what popped into my head, and I'm just like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like they're not doing it in a way where they're just open about it. Like, yeah, we're vertically integrating. They're doing it in a way of like, no, guys, this is for you. This is for the consumers, and it's such bull. I swear, it's like, I'm sorry, you're not doing this for me. You're doing this because you're making millions on the penny for like us creators. If you're acquiring or cannibalizing companies like any production companies or distributors, etc., etc. As such, this is one of the things that I came across just the other day. This was from the 21st, so yesterday. Sony Films will move to Disney after a Netflix window expires. This whole thing here should concern you. Why is this a big concern? Because Sony is the owners of the biggest media library for movies. Alright, so.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to Disney. Alright, so. The deal, which covers theatrical releases from 2022 to 26, sees the titles hit Disney following following their post-PVOD windows on Netflix. What that means is that they do have a deal with Netflix, and that'll actually go in here. It'll say on here. Sony Pictures' upcoming theatrical slate and much of its library are headed to Disney's streaming and TV platforms. The new deal, which covers Sony's 2022 through 2026 theatrical slate, will bring the films to Disney-owned streaming services, Disney Plus and Hulu. Excuse me. As well as to Disney's linear TV networks, including ABC, Disney Channels, Freeform FX, and National Geographic. The deal comes after Netflix and Sony inked a massive pact for Sony's films to go to the streaming service for their first pay windows, which usually come 18 months after a film hits theaters. Once that window expires, the new Disney deal will see Sony's titles hit Disney platforms for their pay 2 windows. So that's what it is. Yeah. Excuse me. Ugh. Like I said, sorry, my allergies are still.
It's allergy season.
It is allergy season, and it's terrible. Alright, the library titles include films from Sony's universe of Marvel characters such as Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, as well as films from the Hotel Transylvania and Jumanji franchises. Sony's upcoming 2022 slate includes Morbius, Uncharted, and Bullet Train, and the sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That's right, they are making a sequel if you hadn't caught that before. Quote, this landmark multi-year platform agnostic agreement guarantees the team at Disney Media and Entertainment Distribution a tremendous amount of flexibility and breadth of programming possibilities to leverage Sony's rich slate of award-winning action and family films across our direct-to-consumer services and linear channels, said Chuck Saffler, head of business operations for ABC, Freeform, FX Networks, and acquisitions in DMED's Networks division. He goes on to say, this is a win for fans. What did I just tell you? They're doing it for you guys. Trust us. It's not for them or for how much money that they're all just lining their own pockets with. Who will benefit from the ability to access the very best content from two of Hollywood's most prolific studios across a multitude of viewing platforms and experiences. Again, they're blaming you guys. Look, we're doing it for you. Trust us. We fired Gina Carano for you. Trust us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Didn't we just see something on Nat Geo's Instagram when it's all like nothing to do with
it was like
a lot of their usual content, but it was like very politically
it was their
biased.
It was their usual content, but it was like politically biased because it was some type of like Aztec or Mayan like monument thing that was painted over with Black Lives Matter and stuff like that.
Oh, I see.
And that was like their goal,
Yeah.
Is that the one I showed you?
I think so. I think
or
that's
the
the
school.
I don't remember. I forget it. I think you showed me the first one, and you did show me. Oh, you showed me both of them, but I think that was the one I was talking about. But
instead of them talking about like,
I mean, granted, they do sometimes do like political stuff, but man, talk about political bias. But who owns that? Disney, who are not very like hush hush about their political views. They're very openly discriminatory against a lot of things, and we're not just talking about just Gina Carano, but yeah, don't. It's like you had a lid.
Mm-hmm.
Not just talking about that, but just just everything that they like to do. Part of the woke mob and people that are involved in it. And again, they're doing this very openly. All right. But again, this is for you guys. Trust us. It's for you. You pay us more money. Trust us with your money because we're doing this for the fans. Yeah.
And they're paying themselves. They're not paying the people who contribute to the their library.
Yep.
Yeah,
well, now they are because now they're pulling in Sony.
Oh, they're paying other big companies, but
the
people
big
who
companies.
actually come, like people who write the scripts, the people who sell, like even indie filmmakers who sell to them.
Yep.
Pennies on the dollar.
Pennies on. I like to say pennies on the thousands of dollars or pennies on the millions because they are literally making millions of dollars.
That's pretty much true.
Yeah, and again, because of that, indie filmmakers and indie creators, artists, and all you artisans out there that are making content that are wanting to break into Hollywood, like you're not. They're literally paying you dirt, and they're they are reaping. Was that the we're reaping all the benefits?
Yeah,
It's
pretty
like,
much.
yeah, it's to me it's a disgusting practice because again, like if you really truly cared about the fans, like that was the whole thing of why what happened with Gina Carano was like, no, you really care about the fans. Like if they really cared about the fans, and that the political landscape wouldn't be a factor in keeping them on, you know. And it's like it's the most ridiculous backwards ass thinking and their justifications.
I mean,
for
like-
it. But it's for the fans, really. No, it's not, dude. It's for yourself. And yet you're literally lying to everybody about this, about a lot of the stuff that's going on. Like Kathleen Kennedy, where she's like, oh, like there was that interview. The problem with Hollywood is there's no prominent female, like strong female leaders. I'm like, you've been a producer since like what, E.T.
Why
came
haven't
out?
you taken any steps
And
to
why
be a
haven't
strong
you done?
female
Yeah,
leader?
haven't you? Why haven't you taken any steps?
Maybe
exactly.
she's actually not female. Oh, who said that? That was
Whoa.
weird. That was
Did
sassy.
we just assume her gender? Maybe she
That
was
was
telling
pretty
us
bad.
the truth, guys. Like,
I think like the more and more like we talk about this, the more and more I see it. Like like shopping, right?
Yep.
When you go shopping for something, you go like, let's go to Walmart, but it's just like all the same stuff, and it's all like highly marketed and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're missing out on that small business factor and that small like those little things that are in like what's the right word? I cannot think of the right word. Those you can go to like a big store and get something that looks nice versus buying somebody from a small business and have those like special,
Contribute to your community.
like no, the things that you buy, like if you go to like a small company and you buy something, there's a special like something that's handmade, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go and buy like a table from Walmart. It's just standard. It's just normal like table. It's got a little bit of design. It's flashy, but you go to like a small like company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they make the same table, but it's better quality.
It could be better quality. Couldn't be even better looking.
Yeah.
you know.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, it's generic, is what you're trying
Yeah.
to say. It's like they're essentially
And
giving
so-
you generic stuff versus like individual or things that stick out, right?
Right, so that brings me back like to the whole film stuff. It's like you're going to Disney and you're going to HBO and Warner Brothers, and it's all cool and stuff, and it's entertaining and it gets you through. But what part are you missing from the indies?
Yep. And that's the whole idea is with all the protests going on. It's like, we care for everyone. It's like, no, you don't. Why are you guys like attacking and looting for like small businesses and whatnot? On a side note, I thought it was funny. I was in, I think it was in Portland, the Apple store that converted itself into a BLM monument. And so they came in and they did their murals and everything. Was on fire last week because they looted and put it to fire. So that just shows you it wasn't about justice. It wasn't about any of that. They are still, they were still continuing that this week, regardless. But yeah, there's so much BS that's going on around there. And again, amongst all this, like people have turned away from looking at what the film industry is doing, which is why, again, the topic of this is the Big Six have returned, because they are now going, hey guys, take a look. We're doing good stuff for you. No, you're not. You're doing stuff for yourself. You're doing this to line your own pockets for that. And again, granted, again, they have all the capital. This is why they want to hold on to as much of it as possible. And they don't care about indies. They don't care about fans. They really don't. They say they do. Words are nice, guys. It's like they can say things and not actually mean it.
People can do that.
It's crazy. Companies can do that. And they do because they have a corner on the market. Right? They've cornered the market. Alright, let's continue on this real quick. Let me see if there's anything else. I think this one's almost done. Keith Lagoy, President, Worldwide Distribution and Network, Sony Pictures Entertainment, said, quote, "This groundbreaking agreement reconfirms the unique and enduring value of our movies to film lovers," to you guys, right, "and the platforms and networks that serve them. We are thrilled to team up with Disney on delivering our titles to their viewers and subscribers. This agreement cements a key piece of our film distribution strategy," to line their own pockets, "which is to maximize the value of each of our films by making them available to consumers across all windows with a wide range of key partners." Again, guys, this is for you. It's for me. It's for you. They're doing it for the children so they can see it all. It's so ridiculous, man. Disney Plus is the streaming home to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, the Sony released films such as Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home are not on the service. Sony's current pay TV partner is the Lionsgate-owned Starz, which I do not believe have their own streaming platform.
Starz?
Yeah, Starz is a cable network.
Starz has a streaming platform.
Do they?
Yeah. I think Starz.
I
I've been seeing ads for it for years.
Sure it was a streaming?
Yeah, they're like, get Starz for like $6 for six months or something like that.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. But okay, all right. That could also be not a streaming, but it's a cable service. Just like how you have Hulu with HBO.
It's like that, like Hulu with HBO Max, right?
Yeah, but
they have that too.
But those are packages. Those are cable packages, like when you do for like Cinemax or Showtime or stuff like that. They don't technically have their own streaming platform like HBO Max does.
They do have a streaming platform.
What's it called?
Starz.
Starz is a cable package. That's why HBO and HBO Max are different. I'm telling you, HBO and HBO Max are different. Now, if I got a subscription to HBO, it doesn't necessarily mean you have access to HBO Max. That was that whole weird thing that went on, and they could have changed that from that. Yeah, they could have changed that.
Like, I've been seeing stuff for streaming on Starz.
Okay. But again, they don't have their own streaming platform. That's still just the cable service that you're getting, and you usually have to have a provider, like say if you're going through Amazon or whoever else that they're linked up to. But it's not necessarily a streaming platform on its own.
Right, which I can understand that, but then it doesn't make sense to me that why would they want you to pay monthly like a streaming platform?
Because cable's going away. And why would they want to pay monthly for that? No, cable's going away. That's the old cable packages that they would do. You go and you order your cable, right? What packages do you want? Well, you got to pay extra for HBO. You got to pay extra for Starz. You got to pay extra for Showtime or Cinemax or any of these other main premier services that they have, or the channels that they have. And that's exactly what they're doing. It's the exact same thing, but it's not a streaming platform. Disney Plus is a streaming platform. HBO Max is a streaming platform. Paramount Plus is Paramount has its own channel, which you would get in say a cable package, and you would pay extra for that. But to get Paramount Plus streaming, like say on Roku or whatever device that you have on there, you would pay extra, like that subscription fee for that, which I don't think gives you that onto your cable service, because you'd have to go through that. But it's this whole convoluted thing, and again, this is why they're doing it, is why it's so convoluted and complicated, is it makes it easier for them to hide stuff like that. To go, well, you're paying these fees for this and this, and then you get companies like Disney that are having you pay, or Disney Plus, that or when they have their Disney Plus subscription. Now they'll do same day releases and make you guys go, hey, you guys are paying us a service, great, but we can't just give you the same day release movies like Mulan and what was the one that just came out?
Soul?
No, Soul was actually free.
Really?
Because it didn't have a theatrical release. But same day release. They just did that again with, I forget what movie they just did.
Something.
It's probably still up there. Yeah, it shows how much we've been caring about Disney.
I don't remember. Was it Raya?
Oh yeah, Raya and the Last Dragon. But yeah, like that. It's like they're doing same day releases, which same thing for Sony now, right? They're trying to do same day release for this stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous, and their justification. Look, guys, Marvel.
Did they do that with Wonder Woman 2 with HBO?
Yep, HBO Max, and that was all of what they were doing. Is they had their whole slate doing same day releases, and they're going, well, you know what, people are gonna pay, and technically they didn't do that for HBO Max, where you had to pay extra to actually watch it. Like if you're paying your subscription, you pay an extra fee on top of that. Disney Plus is making you do that because we're just testing it, guys. And again, we've mentioned this before. Back in it was the end of December, some of the CAA, I think it was the president of the CAA, CEO, I forget. They were mentioning either that or it might have been somebody else that was in there. Anyway, they were mentioning how this whole new distribution thing that they've got going on, where they're going straight to stream instead of having theatrical releases, has been even messing with contracts and actors pay for their people.
Weren't you just talking about that with the Warner Brothers thing, and that they're going to HBO or something like that. But isn't HBO like a subsidiary of Warner Brothers?
Okay, yeah, we'll get into that. Alright, so finishing this again. Their justification for Sony's is like, well, look, because Disney Plus is a streaming home for Marvel Cinematic Universe, but their releases of Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home are not on the service. Yeah, y'all bought the rights from it. Remember, there was this whole debacle of, can we put Spider-Man into the Marvel Universe? Yeah, and now they're like, hey guys, we buddy. We're doing this for you. Trust us.
They're
Give
doing
us
it
your money.
Sony too, because Sony owns the right Spider-Man. So
Well, that's
just
what I'm
like,
saying.
like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With Sony was doing that, like, guys, we're doing this for you, to bring the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe to you in one
I
little
think my
package.
thing is I think it's more Disney than it is Sony.
Yeah,
Maybe? Or both?
No, it's both. Oh, they're definitely both. You can tell because their PR statements, their press releases and stuff like that for that.
Oh, you've read all that stuff.
Well, no, they're
Sony,
just what they said on here.
Sony doesn't have their own platform though, right?
Correct. That's why I was saying Stars is that whole thing. What we're talking about Stars. That's a cable package. That is not a streaming platform.
Okay.
They're saying it's that everything, like I said, cable's going away, and now they're literally repackaging all the cable packages into streaming packages, and they're doing the exact same thing. Why? Because of the new media loophole, right? We've talked about this plenty of times before. The new media loophole is there are no that Sherman antitrust case against U.S. versus Paramount in 1948. That ruling was for old media. This is not old media. New media is not old media. So they are literally putting it right back to go because there's no laws against this.
Because it's new media.
Now they're vertically integrating again, very openly about this. So
I'm so tired of saying that. It's like it's new media, so there's no like grounds for anything. I'm like, but it's been new media for a while, and nobody has set those grounds. So who's gonna do it?
Even the guilds will give you discounts, and so they can pay people less. That's exactly what that means. They can pay people less
And then they
if
wonder
you're doing
why.
new media projects. According to their laws in the unions, the guilds, right? They'll pay you less because you're getting a discount because it's new media, guys. We need to build up that new media. This new media has been around for at least 2 decades now. This is nothing new about it. Stop trying to BS everyone else, thinking that like, oh, this is absolutely new, guys. We don't know. We're discovering it. We have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, but then
playing dumb.
They realize that the people that are in their union or in their guild are being paid less and less, you know? And I know there's like backups in case something were to happen with like films making more, like spending more throughout the process of doing new media for their guilds, for their guild members. But even still, it's like really setting that boundary because, like you said, it's been around for 20 years, you know? If not more so, right?
Well, okay, so I mean, they didn't really start to boom until Netflix.
What is
right?
it, late 2000s?
2000, yeah, late 2000s, and it was like 2010. Like I said, it started with Netflix. 2010, they started doing their Netflix originals, where a distribution platform, right? The whole thing that happened in 1948 after the Supreme Court ruling, RKO was the first one to disperse and release their theaters, and then Paramount followed very shortly after, and then everybody else followed suit because again, y'all are violating Sherman antitrust laws and vertically integrating. You're monopolizing the industry. So yeah, nobody's doing that for new media because, and we'll go a little bit more into that, but yeah, new media loophole, guys. It is a real thing that is happening. Let's finish this article. After the upcoming Netflix window expires, those films would be in play for Disney Plus, uniting more of the MCU saga in one spot. See, 2008's The Incredible Hulk, distributed by Universal, is not on Disney Plus. See, different distributor, right? Mm-hmm. But guys, we're doing it for you because Marvel should be in one place. Sony previously licensed its films to Disney-owned FX in the post-Pay 1 TV window. The companies did not disclose the financial details of the deal. Of course they didn't, because they don't want you to know how much money they just banked.
What is it like? The rich are only paying the rich?
Yep, the
I've
rich
heard
paying
that
each other.
before, and I don't remember where.
Lining each other's pockets instead of actually paying people for doing work. Right? Granted, that's not saying they don't pay people at all.
They do.
Right? They do pay people, but when they, especially
for what they deserve, you know, what they work for, what they put in, you know, it's like...
Yeah. they're paying them literally pennies to the millions of dollars that they line their own
Well,
pockets.
maybe they should have thought of that before they became peasants.
Yeah.
That's what I think about retirement.
I know. All right, so who are these big 6 companies? I'm gonna move this over here. Check it. Now, this was one I had to search for this. This one came out in September of last year, so I like that they did this. There have been different versions of it, but generally, this is the big 6 companies. So, the 6 corporations control 90% of the media outlets in America. The illusion of choice and objectivity. This is from Tech Startups. So, let me see where they go into.
That's pretty detailed.
It is pretty detailed with what they're going into, and it's not just when they're talking about media, they're not just talking about like studios for movies and everything. They've actually included like journalism,
Like
you
news,
know,
right?
and news outlets and stuff like that, news stations, which again, that's all kind of owned by the same people anyway. Again, it's so why this is not well like widely known. It's ridiculous. And it does go into here where it's like talking about objectivity and how you don't get objectivity. So objectivity in journalism is an illusion created by the elite class to give the appearance of balanced news. However, there's no such thing as unbiased news. Journalists who work for these 6 corporations answer to their owners and ultimately serve their agendas. For example, no logical thinking person will expect Washington Post to write a fair and objective story about its owner, especially a story that Jeff Bezos reportedly cheated on his wife. The point of all these is that media outlets don't necessarily serve the interest of the people they control. Instead, they serve the interests of their owners. Crazy. Let me see. This was one graphic that they had on here. Again, and I'm trying to see which ones are the most updated for. So, yeah, Comcast, AT&T, Verizon. Check this out again. The if you're seeing Hulu twice, it's because there's joint venture. They both own it. More than one company owns it, and so they're just splitting profits. Now add this to like say Disney on the side, and then now you've got other people. Again, what you said, rich paying the rich. Okay.
I thought it was Warner Brothers that owned AT&T, but I guess it makes sense.
They bought out AT&T bought out Warner Brothers, Time Warner.
When I kind of vaguely remember hearing about that a while ago, and I was like, what does a phone company want to do with an entertainment company?
Communications and entertainment. Yep.
And that always stuck with me for the longest time. Like, it was just weird to me.
Check this out, Comcast. I was trying to find who owned Comcast because it's so weird, like watching the transfer of ownership, who bought out what company.
It's kind of like Chain of Title.
It is like Chain of Title, what we were just talking about. Let me see.
But the fact that
Universal,
Comcast
you were saying.
Universal?
What's up?
Comcast owns Universal?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. USA Networks. Yeah. Vox Media, E Entertainment. What's up?
I thought DreamWorks was Disney.
They might have, again, I don't know how old this thing is.
Oh, that's true.
So, because there, like I said, there are different versions on here that they had on here.
It's so confusing because they're always buying from each other, from the rich.
Yep.
And
rich paying each other. So, like this article goes on, the infographic is dated and does not reflect the current media owners of some of the news outlets. So, it even said that first one, was it? The below infographic. So even this one is a little bit dated. For example, GE no longer owns NBC anymore, but the fact that a few companies own everything demonstrates the illusion of choice. As of September 2020, the 6 media giants are AT&T, which bought Time Warner, like I said, CBS, Comcast, Disney, News Corp, the parent company of Fox News, and Viacom, which these are the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is why I say I've been calling them the Big 5, even though it's originally the Big 6.
See that illusion of choice, right? It's like when people were trying to boycott Disney, so they deleted, they all like stopped their Disney Plus subscription, but then they realized that they had Hulu, right? And now you're seeing that you're
still contributing to it.
You're still paying into Disney Pocket.
Yep, which is why they don't care if you stop that. It's like, okay. So here's media consolidation. Media has never been more consolidated. 6 media giants now control staggering 90% of what we read, watch, or listen to. So I like this infographic here. In 1983, 90% of American media was owned by 50 different companies, and by 2011, it was down to 6. And in fact, why do I call this the Big Five? Even according to this, is you've got GE, right? You've got News Corp, you've got Disney, Viacom, Time Warner, and CBS. Because Viacom and CBS had already remerged. And whether you say, well, they're two separate companies still, but they're still remerged into Viacom CBS. It's literally their company name now, and that was as of last year, I think. Oh, no, I think it was over 2 years ago, and then they started trading as Viacom CBS, I think, in 2019. So, again, dated. Definitely dated for this.
No wonder the 80s were better.
Yeah. 232 media executives control the information diet of 277 million Americans. At one media exec to 850,000 subscribers. So an audience the size of San Francisco. So one person, one media exec per city size of San Francisco. Total 2010 revenue. So again, this is back in 2010. A lot of this stuff has changed.
So about over a decade.
Yep, and that's why I call them the Big Five, because Viacom, like I said, Viacom
Yeah.
CBS is now Viacom CBS. Total 2010 revenue for the Big Six was $275.9 billion. That's with a B, right? That's $36 billion more than Finland's GDP, enough to buy every NFL team 12 times, and 5 times the government bailout of General Motors. Dang. Big Six controls 70% of your cable, which again, cable's going away because they're all moving to stream, because cable is now considered old media. It's not considered new media, right? 3,762 business contribute 30%. The Big Six control 70% of your cable. Okay, Comcast NBC merger guarantees control of 1 of every 5 hours of television. Monopoly of 11 U.S. markets like New York City and Chicago. Again, these are old. They've been doing this for a long time. News. What else we got here? Radio. Clear Channel. So he's talking about like Clear Channel.
What is Clear Channel?
It's the ones that do radio stuff. So in 1995, the FCC forbade companies to own over 40 stations. Yet Clear Channel owns 1,200 stations.
Jeez.
And that actually, I think it goes. I'm pretty sure it goes into it in this article. Again, I'm trying to get back to 80 point. Hold on, 8% of stations playlist match. Mrs. Robinson has aired 6 million times. It's 30, blah 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 blah. Okay, movies. The Big Six's box office sales hit $7 billion in 2010. That's 2 times the box office sales of the next 140 studios. That's combined. $7 billion combined over the was it 3.5 billion of all these other studios combined. Mergers. AOL spent $124 billion to buy Time Warner in 2001. I think that fell through. Enabled by FCC regulation and decades long of mergers and acquisitions, these 6 giants dominate our media landscape. What's up?
I said I thought AOL and Warner Bros. Had falling out.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they did. Okay. So below is an infographic created by folks at WebFX. It shows the Big Six who control them and what they own. This next one, six corporations that own.
There are now 5, right?
Almost all media. Well, okay, so this one is a little bit different, which is why I like this one. This is maybe a bit bigger, but it also goes into who owns it.
Oh.
So National Amusements, which I forget what they sold, what they had to. I think they sold it to Disney. I there's a lot of this. So Sumner Redstone, that's your owner for that. And look at this. You got BET in here. You got CBS Sports, CBS, MTV. Epix, MTV, Nickelodeon. Right? Didn't we just say something? They're making Nick Plus.
Yeah.
What was that? Was it Disney and Rakuten?
Is that Paramount? There's like 3 different Paramount logos. I don't understand that, but.
Again,
CW,
one is you see that blue one in the middle?
Yeah.
What does it say? Paramount Home Media Distribution. So their distribution, their studios, etc., etc. So they've got their hands in everything.
Viacom.
Right? Viacom, Showtime, Spike, CW, VH1. Look, all these things go to, bam, to line that pocket for them. It you guys it. You know, it's funny. I remember talking about that not too long ago. It was like a couple years ago.
How dated is this?
I don't know. I didn't give a date on when this was at. But anyway, I remember talking about this like not too long, like a couple years ago, and I was like, hey, you know, you could create like two different companies that are essentially look like you're vying for different customers, but you have similar products, and it's essentially creating what they call control opposition. It's like, hey, I created, say, a t-shirt shop over here, and now I created a separate t-shirt shop over here. And say you've got brick and mortar stores, and it's like, look, they're owned by two different companies, but they're not, because I work for this one. Your employees may see it that way. I work for this store, but the other person works for this other store, and you don't realize that they're all owned by one person.
What is it, subsidiaries, right?
It's called, it's like...
Or is it umbrella?
It's still kind of like, it's kind of the same thing, like, but yeah, it's essentially, again, like the idea is controlled opposition. You think you're going and buying from one to the other. Like, I'm not going to give you my business. I'm going to give you
like
my
the Disney
business.
Plus thing I was saying versus a Hulu.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're not, like, Hulu is a streaming platform that they own now.
So, like, I'm not going to pay Disney Plus.
I'm not going to pay Disney. Yeah. I'm going to go to Hulu, and you're still paying Disney. Yeah. Absolutely. So, same idea. Look at all these CBS games. They own all this. Internet. Right? What things are they? Last FM. Man, that's old.
I don't even know what that is.
There was another radio
Actually,
station.
I don't know what any of these are.
So there's print, internet, video games, but television and film. Look at how many companies they have on there. BET, Jams, even. They own all BET. Yeah, BET owned by this dude. Just saying. And then it goes in.
Well, however dated this is, if he didn't sell
however dated this is, but I'm pretty sure that he still has that ownership for it. But you know, you guys are supporting, the black community for that. Sure, I mean,
this
they're
is
making
illusion.
this stuff.
It's an illusion.
Illusion of choice, but who's it ultimately going to? Sumner Redstone. Crazy. National Amuses. And I believe this is in terms of this breakdown is by who owns the most or how much they made. Net worth $4.6 billion. All right, Disney, Bob Iger, now Bob Iger stepped down as CEO. He is still an executive chairman to Disney. So Bob Chapek is the new CEO for this. So again, I don't know how
they like their
Bobs.
Bobs.
Yeah, apparently. Television and film. Look at this: A&E, ABC,
Marvel.
Yep, Marvel, of course, Lucasfilms,
21st Century's on there or no?
I don't think it is.
So it's before then.
So yeah, Touchstone Pictures, Walt Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilms, etc.
How many ESPNs are there?
Freeform. Again, there's a lot.
I didn't know they owned Freeform.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the History Channel?
We just mentioned that in the last article too. Yeah, I'm telling you, dude. Like they own everything.
Yes, they do.
This is why they're going to own a lot. Oh, not own. Sorry,
and now
it's
they own
licensing
more.
For Sony, which again we'll get into that.
But also including 21st Century Fox.
Yes, exactly.
And like you said, the merger with Sony.
Yep. Now they're not into anything on the internet like that, but they still have video games and print media that they are part of. Time Warner. Here we go. What is Time Warner? Cartoon Network, CNN, HBO Max. Again, this is why Warner Brothers goes straight to HBO Max on their whole slate for this year.
Part of Hulu.
Their same day releases, and essentially saying, "Screw you, theaters. We're going to pay ourselves at the same time," because people aren't gonna. No, they're not gonna want to go to theaters. Yeah, because they're trying to actively shut down people going outside and paying other companies.
Did you just give the camera the bird?
I almost did, and I
was gonna be like, what?
Yeah. Mad TV, Hulu again, another owner of Hulu, CW, Warner Brothers, HBO Films, HBO Max, blah 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 blah. Which I don't even think this has. Yeah, this is HBO On Demand.
Vertigo?
So this is before. So this is old. New Line Cinema, TBS, True TV, TNT. So it doesn't. What's that?
Vertigo. That's what it says, right?
Where?
CW. See the green one? Go down 2.
Yeah, Vertigo. There's a ton of these, and this is HBO On Demand, which they changed to HBO Max. So they're streaming.
CNN. Did you see that already?
Yeah, CNN. Yeah,
I missed that.
I'm telling you, man. Like, yeah, CNN all day long. Cartoon Network, same company that owns CNN's own Cartoon Network.
What is it below the?
What's
It's
up?
in go down. Yeah, there. Yeah, print and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, DC Time. Crazy. Like, if you guys aren't thinking about this on the type of media that you guys consume, and who owns it and whatnot, again, it's the illusion of choice. It's literally controlled opposition. You think you're buying it from different companies. You're really not. You're paying these overall owners for it because it all goes to the same place. I know, dude. That's it.
I was looking at something. I was trying to see what that said on the internet.
Time Warner Cable. So again, cable, but they're trying to get rid of cable and starting to do more internet stuff, right? And this is internet, so their cable, which is bundled with internet, right? That's they're not just owning the media or the things that are on it. They're owning your delivery systems for how you get it. So you are paying them more and more and more. So think about it. If you think you're paying Disney or even Time Warner a one-time thing, like, hey, I'm not going to watch Warner Brother movies. You know what? Forget it. But you got Time Warner Cable, right? You're still paying them. Or you're still watching CNN or Cartoon Network or any of these other things that are bundled into their cable
But
packages.
sometimes people don't know that.
Oh, no.
That's what we're talking about, yeah.
Majority of people don't know this. Exactly. They don't know this, which is why, again, this.
And
let's
it's
do the next one.
unfortunate because it's like they're like hidden investors, which they're not, but it feels like that.
Yeah, they're not hidden, and again, they're blatant. Which again, that last article that we showed, Sony is right up there, going, "Hey, we're gonna be making the rich richer. Our buddies, we're just rubbing elbows now because we don't need to hide this anymore, guys, because all these theaters are shutting down. We have triumphantly cornered and pinned the market because, yeah." We don't need the theaters. In fact, didn't they say that? Like, oh, we don't need the theaters. Was that in the last article? That might have been in a different one.
Maybe.
Actually,
I'm not sure.
I was pretty sure that was in this one. I thought they said something about like their distribution strategy, or it might have, that might have been something. I think it was in a different article where they're essentially saying like, oh, we don't need theaters anymore. That's not their concern. Because it isn't. Because that's a third-party company. There's a reason why Disney stopped making DVDs and their Blu-rays. Okay? That's hard media. That's distributed, and that's money going elsewhere to different companies that are selling it. They stopped. They literally stopped and went full digital. Right? They went fully digital on it. And now everyone that's like, I'm just going to stay home because outside is scary, right? Now you're literally just paying them all the money because, yeah, you don't own anything. And all these things that you got that you're buying even digitally, you're renting those. You do not own those.
And that push to stay locked down.
Yep. Think about this. If your Amazon goes away, if your account is deleted, all those things that you bought, where are they? They're not yours. You can't download them. Unless you illegally download that, which I'm not advocating for. But that's gone. You don't own that. You can't take that with you. You can't create a new account and be like, hey, restore all those old purchases that I had. That's not how it works.
I thought some of them do that.
Nope.
Like iTunes
Nope.
and-
Again, if you're creating a new account, you cannot switch over your old stuff.
Oh, I see.
So Time Warner CEO Jeff Buick's annual salary $32.5 million. What was Bob Iger's annual salary? $44.9 million. Guess what? All these salaries went up in 2020. Crazy. Comcast, Brian L. Roberts, worth his annual salary $40.8 million. That's per year.
And this was a while back.
And this
Not
was
that long,
this was at least by last year, I believe, is what they had. But it's earlier last year. What do they got on here for Comcast? What do they own? Bravo,
Sci-fi.
Big Idea. Oh man.
Illumination.
I'm like, I didn't know they own Big Idea. That's VeggieTales.
Is it?
Focus, yeah. Focus World, Hulu again, DreamWorks, Fandango. NBC, MSNBC, NHL. That's the network, I believe. Yep, the network. What else have they got on here?
Universal.
Telemundo, Universal,
USA.
Mm-hmm. Xfinity, obviously. So Comcast, Xfinity, Ventures. What else do they got on here? Jeez, man. Tripwire, Rubicon,
Virtue.
Ramp. Yep.
About.com.
Yep, about.com, info.com. Crazy how all these companies, Time Warner, are owning all these things, right? It's just so ridiculous when you start seeing all these things. News Corp. So Rupert Murdoch, annual salary $22.3 million. Like I said, I think this is going down by how much they earn. So Fox, right? 20th Century Fox. Again, this was sold to Disney. From News Corp, but FX, right? Disney owned. They got all this stuff, man. So again, like how much they actually know. If you're talking about just purely film and television, a lot of these, yeah, that's now under Disney. I'm telling you, man. All these big things, like this one here, which is supposed to be again a big six. All these major things for television and film are almost gone. Fox Music, yep. And then on this one, it does have Sony. $4.9 million annual salary. So now, they're still their own company, but all these things that they own, they're still sending up to. So that's why I said it's like, I like calling it the Big Five. I like the older graphic on that. But Comcast has the majority so far. Disney, again, I don't know how far this is for this. But I forget where I found it, and I'm already blanking on the dang name of the thing.
What thing?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of it.
It
had to do. It's the telecommunications. It was the Telecommunications Act. That's what it was. I think it was Telecommunications Act. This is the thing that changed everything. So when they started to make these things happen, and I thought I could have sworn it was on this article. But the Telecommunications Act during the Clinton administration, and it was in 1998, it changed everything.
Oh, I remember you.
Yeah, we were talking about that just last night. And what that did was the Telecommunications Act, it allowed companies like the Big Six or the Big Five to not own or prevent it. Before that, there were laws preventing how much they could own in one place. Like any one company or any one person can own, especially in any one area. Telecommunications Act, which came out during the Clinton administration, wiped that out. And now they were allowed to own a bunch of stuff. That's why when it said, Clear Channel by, was it 1993, 1995, already owned 1,200 different stations, even though there were laws against it. Yeah, well, the laws changed in favor of them because it lined their own pockets for that, right? It helped line the big corporations for that, right? This is why, again, understanding our industry and what's going on with it becomes massively important with, which is just what's going on. And we wonder why it's like, why is mainstream media biased over all this stuff? Why are indie creators, and now theaters getting the short end of the stick with all this? They're literally moving to modern day block booking. That is what it is. It is the same practice where the Big Six studios or the Big Five studios are determining theaters, you only get what we tell you get. Right? We're just going to release, and if we do release, we're going to release same day. That's exactly what they did back in the day with their own theaters. Their studio-owned theaters. This is the exact same thing. History is literally repeating itself 100 years later. And they're very open about it. They don't care. But you know what? It's for the fans. It's for you. It's for me. It's for the children, guys. Trust us. Give us all your money. Pay us more of the billions of dollars that we earn. That's exactly what they're saying. And again, controlled opposition. They want you to think that you're going to other places. You are not going to other places. You're literally paying to the same people. And again, it's made up this way, specifically to make it harder for people to understand this, right? And that's why you've got companies that's like, well, now Netflix is their own company, So, yeah, that's a bad example. Like Hulu, yeah, I keep going back to that Disney Plus and Hulu, because yeah, if you quit your Disney Plus but you're still on Hulu, you're still paying Disney. You're literally paying Disney.
Amongst all the other companies that they own.
Yep. So think about this: if you pay, how much is a subscription for either of those?
I think they're about the same price, like
What, like
$6.
$6, $7, or is it up to 10 now?
If you're paying minimum, right?
Okay. So $7 each. So put it this way: if you're paying for $7 for Disney Plus, and then $7 for Hulu, it's $14 that's going there. Now, say like Disney pissed you off and you don't want to support and you didn't support what they're doing. Fine. So I'm gonna stop my Disney Plus, but you still got your Hulu. You're still giving them $7 every month. Crazy. It's crazy. Now again, what's the solution? I don't know. I really don't know what the solution would be for that, but understanding this at the very least is going to help. Hopefully, more people to understand this. I mean, like the whole thing,
light,
bringing it to light, and that's why like this title for this. It's like they've returned. It's like no, they've actually always been there. When I say they return to actually just being open about their vertical integration, their monopolizing of the industry, and they don't care anymore. They don't care about being sneaky or like, hey, paying off these politicians to make these laws to help them, because that's where all the capital and all the money is at, right? They don't care. And you wonder why big tech and Hollywood, they say big tech and Hollywood control a lot of these politicians. They got the money, they're bought out and they're paid for. Crazy how that works. Okay? So, like I said, this was a very, I think I put on this is saucy talk today. Very saucy talk today. But again, it's something that's, it's important, especially for indie companies or indie filmmakers and creators, artists, to understand the industry. And maybe it's the time where we should be rising up together. There's so much division out there because they're focusing on like critical race theory or, just all these things that are meant to divide us, to distract us, to go and from all these moves that they're making blatantly out in the open, and nobody's holding them accountable. What happened to all those antitrust cases that they said they were going to come down the pipeline earlier this year against big tech? Why aren't any of these lawyers going or these lawsuits going against Hollywood and the big six?
Because they own them too.
Possibly, but it's because they're literally doing this out in the open, and it's surprising like how much of a distraction that's everything is being put out from. And I get it. It's meant to distract. It's meant to look like there's chaos everywhere. And there is chaos a lot of places. But, you can still be aware and have multiple fronts on that. Being aware of what you consume. This is why I tell people, like, look, unplug for the weekend. Go outside. Go spend time with your friends and family. If you're scared to go out, wear your mask. You can still social distance and still socialize with it. You can still go exercise and go have a good time outside with a mask on if you're that hard pressed on it, because science is settled on masks.
But it doesn't stop you from enjoying like your life, right?
Your life, yeah.
It shouldn't.
And it shouldn't. Absolutely not. I miss the days where you used to go out and just do things at your own risk. Crazy.
Eat dirt.
Or people eating Tide Pods or stupid crap like that. Yeah.
The Tide Pod death rate, I think, is high.
Yes. It's so.
I'm
so
not doing
ridiculous.
this. Alright.
Yeah. Anyways, so again, just understand the media that you're creating, you're consuming. Like, I get it. We're part of that too. But we at least try to take a more, a broader stance on it. So then you understand that, like, this is why we think a lot about our audience. This is why we try to think about other creators. There's this weird stigma in the indie film community, where they think passion project means zero pay, right? It's not necessarily the case. You should be trying. If your goal is not to pay every single person on your crew, like your cast and your crew, feel you're wrong, because you're just helping each other, and then asking people to pay for your work. again, if you're not at that point to do that, I think you're wrong. At least that's our opinion on that. Anyways, thanks for joining us for another live lunch.
Come support us.
Yeah, but yeah, we want to keep doing these videos for you guys, especially about what's going on in the industry. Keep you guys a little bit updated on it. Again, this is nothing new. The Big Six is coming around. Most of the articles I found about the Big Six and media consolidation were like decade old. So imagine how much more damage they've come across from like 2010 on to now 2021, and all the things that they're doing here. But again, if you like what we're doing, hit that subscribe button, give us a like. You can also become a hooligan yourself by supporting us at our Patreon, patreon.com/hidehooliganfilms. Or you can buy one of our RPG IRL shirts or Wander Kiltsman shirts. Again, it doesn't just support us, it supports the Wander Kiltsman at thewanderkiltsman.com/shop. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate you taking the time to see what we got here. And we will see you
next week.
Next week. Have a great weekend.
Bye.